story. Disaster response teams have confirmed that 2 bodies of those believed to have been swept away by floods have been found. This increases the death toll of people killed in the inclement weather-related incidents in Kwazulu-Natal to at least 11. Newzroom Afrika's Nobuhle Modise is now joining us live from the scene. Nobuhle, tell us what you can see from your vantage point.
Morning, Aldrin. As you can see, these are search and rescue teams who are just rummaging through all of this that you can see in front of you. And we understand that 5 people in the Lamontville area have gone missing. And what happened this morning, in the early hours of this morning, there were pretty heavy downpours throughout the city. We understand that in this particular informal settlement, people's houses were flooding. And as a result, people started, getting out of the house. And this is when these 5 were swept away. And we understand that of those 5, there are 3 children who are missing, a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and they come from one home. I was listening to the search and rescue teams earlier as they were liaising with the family, and they were explaining that the 16-year-old had the 5-year-old on her back and her little 9-year-old brother holding her 9-year-old brother, and they were trying, to get out of the house as it was flooding, and that's when they were swept away. But I do also have with me Umam Ntombikhona Mhlongo, who her mom has gone missing, a 60-year-old woman, also in the same conditions where the house started flooding, and they went outside just to, relieve themselves from that water that was coming inside the house, not knowing that as they opened the door, there'd be more water and they would be swept away by flash floods. I do have Usisi Ntombikhona, and she's quite emotional, Aldrin, so do, give us some time to get through this as I speak to her. Siyabonga kakhulu sisi. Mhlambe sichazele ukuthi kwenzakaleni ekseni.
Oh, izolo siwaqala net ngabu past 9. Laqinisa 10 ngabo 11 bese ngena amanzi seqhamuka ngala. Thina besilinde laqhamuka emfuleni kwavela aqhamuka ngala. So sesizama ukubaleka khona bese ngena endlini phakathi. Sizama ukuba safe sinquna siwelele ngaphesheya ngoba ngaphesheya kuphezulu. Mesiphuma egethini sesigudla ngodonga lo siyabambelela siyahamba. Uma mina usisi wami ingane mase kube leza amakhelwane ezu3 no auntie lo next door naye nengane yakhe nomunye umfana. Ngeshwa ke bona ke bahlulekile uqinisele ukubambelela ehlahleni ngoba vele badala amanzi bephusha kakhulu ephezulu la emqaleni, so abathatha bahamba bona. Thina sakwazi ukusinda ngoba sibambelelile. Kwaqhamuka abafana bangaphesheya basisize basidonsa ngeintambo, sakwazi ukusinda kanjalo. Nabo kuba bafika nganamanzi bezosithatha nathi kuba besephezulu ngoba nibona nje ukuthi behamba. Aqhamuka ngale, and this thing yenzeka 2022. Like la 2022 sakwazi ukusinda, but this year basikwazanga ngoba bephezulu kakhulu ke behamba nje la. Uma akekho okuzwile ngaye, mhlawumbe usitshela ukuthi uma khona okuzwile, uma uneminyaka engakhi? Ngizwe ukuthi una 60, ngicela nje usichazele. Yebo, bese 60 ngoFebruary 12. As you can see, Aldrin, she's quite emotional. I mean, she's not even wearing shoes because everything happened so fast. It was quite emotional scenes this morning, and you can just see on her face that she's not taking this well. She has no idea where her mother is, and she was explaining that the water levels were very high this time around. You would have heard her say 2022, and she's referring to the April 2022 floods. And she says during that time they thought that, they would also be washed away by flash floods, but fortunately they survived. She's saying this time around the water levels were too high, and they were holding on to a fence structure. And when the water swept them away, they got out of the house and tried to cross the road because it was more elevated. And as they did that, they tried to hold on to a fence. But unfortunately, some of those people didn't make it. And those are the 5 people, including her mom, who were unfortunately washed away. And as you can see, the search and rescue workers here just rummaging through this area to see if they can find anything. And these are the kind of scenes that we are seeing. Even the road, Aldrin, is damaged from these heavy rains, and it just speaks to how severe this kind of rainfall was this time around. And you would know that the South African Weather Service had predicted that this rainfall will continue into this week, and it seems as if there will be no reprieve. As right now, as I'm speaking to you, it's starting to rain again, and people around here are just in shock, standing around waiting
And it's not just rescue workers who are looking, it's also people of the community who are also just trying to see if they can see anything. So it's quite, you know,
Well, we seem to have lost that connection there to Nobuhle Modise. We're going to see if we can re-establish that connection to her. But as you just heard from the experience, okay, Nobuhle, we seem to have you back on now. If you can hear me, I see that there's confirmation now as well that the number of bodies that have been recovered so far has increased now to 3. All right, that line is really failing us this morning. But as Nobuhle indicated just before we lost her, she did indicate that it's starting to rain once again in the area. And a bit earlier on, when we were in conversation with ASL paramedics, Garrett Jemison, he did indicate that there is still rain that is taking place. And of course, that rain does hamper their operations in terms of trying to recover the 5 people who are believed to have been swept away. But earlier on, it did indicate that they've changed their mission from a search and rescue mission to a recovery mission. And it really speaks to these numbers that we are seeing now coming up on your screen with the 3 bodies that have been discovered so far. And you listen into the lady that Nobuhle was speaking to a bit earlier on, waiting and hoping that they will hear any word around their mother, who's about 65 years old, who's also been swept away. Let's see if we can get Nobuhle back on the line. Nobuhle, if you can hear me, just take over from this confirmation that we got that 3 people have now been discovered, 3 bodies.
Indeed, Aldrin. So 3 bodies in another part of the city have been discovered here in Lamontville, as you've indicated, as Gareth from ALS also indicated. They are still looking. It's basically turned from search and rescue to recovery, and they are looking for 5 people who were washed away. And those 3 that you speak of are in another part of the city, as this has affected most parts of eThekwini, and it's not just Lamontville. We know that in the south coast as well, there's been a flooding. We know that in Mlazi, some people have also lost their homes, the structures caved in. So there's a lot happening across the city, and it seems as though the death toll may rise as these operations continue, not only here but across the city.
All right. Just quickly, Nobuhle, thank you so much for that clarity. Just quickly explain to us. So you're saying that where you're currently at, are there any bodies that have been recovered, and these not linked to the 3 other bodies that we are reporting on?
So far in this part, no bodies have been found as yet. Those 3, I'm assuming, are outside of where we are right now. But at the moment now, they are still searching for bodies here where we are in Lamontville at the moment.
Okay, thank you so much for that explanation. And as Nobuhle has indicated, this inclement weather, of course, affecting various parts of KwaZulu-Natal.